The United States will therefore suspend its obligations under the INF Treaty effective February 2nd. Russia has jeopardized the United States' security interest, and we can no longer be restricted by the treaty while Russia shamelessly violates it.
So we're going to talk about this controversial decision by the Trump administration, capping off what has been a rocky week for the president's national security strategy, let's say. The INF, signed by Reagan back in '87, was considered one of the most important landmark nuclear treaties in history. Its suspension is sparking fears of a new kind of arms race. This week also brought a very public rebuke for the president from senators of his own party. Mitch McConnell actually spearheaded the vote, if you believe this, condemning Trump's decision to withdraw troops from Syria and Afghanistan. Passed overwhelmingly in the Senate a day after our combined intel chiefs publicly contradicted their boss, the president's claims that threats from ISIS, North Korea, Russia had been neutralized. Well, with us on a Friday night to talk about all of it, as he does, General Barry McCaffrey, retired U.S. Army four-star general, heavily decorated combat veteran of Vietnam and the Gulf War, also happens to be a former U.S. drug czar. General, we're going to have a theme night. I'm going to ask you a series of questions, all with the same words. Are we less safe? And the first one is, are we less safe because of this decision on the INF Treaty?
Not yet. I think there's universal concern about the Trump national security process is impulsive and incoherent and uncoordinated. In this case, both President Obama and Trump have found the Russians clearly non-compliant. The SSC-8 missile, we think, for sure violates the treaty. I think the big question to me on this issue, Brian, is China isn't in the treaty. The Indians, the Pakistanis, the North Koreans, the Russians are concerned about their intermediate range missiles. At some point, one hopes we'd get a universal treaty and bring all nations into it. So I think, Secretary Bill Perry, who I think is one of the great public servants, is against withdrawal. Admiral Jim Stavridis, my friend and colleague. But I'd say let's wait. And Secretary Mattis, when he left office, said withdrawal from the INF Treaty is to give our negotiators some tools to negotiate with. So it's not clear to me yet we're unsafe.
Are we less safe because of what's unfolding to our south in Venezuela?
No, I think Venezuela is a nightmare. Clearly has nothing to do with U.S. unilateral military intervention. It would be an utter disaster. We're not going to do that, I'm confident. We'd see resignation of the acting SecDef and others, and the Congress would turn on Trump if he tried that. So I don't think that's a question. What do we do? 3 million refugees, starvation, murder of the people. I actually applaud Secretary Pompeo, or whoever came up with this rather clever idea to recognize the opposition assembly leader. But we got to do something. The people are in abject misery. We owe them an international intervention.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.